And we're on. All right, welcome everybody to another League of Legends Momentum session with our expert guest, Coach Warren. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. So let's talk about last week we worked on our build path, and I've been playing around with it a little bit. And here's a dilemma that I have. So this is what I want some feedback on. I've been playing with it. For the most part, I'm keeping the items. Getting used to the Lich Bane and Luden's Echo and going AP. I've been playing around with the first item and the boots. And what I found is if I start Luden's Echo, so I've done games where I started Luden's Echo,
Mm-hmm.
it gives me way more punch in lane, and I've gotten first blood in lane,
Mm-hmm.
which is strange for me, right? It's not. That's not the play style typically. But it makes everything, it makes the wave clear and my split push super slow.
Are you using your shrooms?
Uh, Not typically. I usually use the shrooms for vision and preventing ganks.
So that's why you are slow at pushing. So I know that you want to save it for vision and things like that, but what's the cooldown on your shrooms?
I don't know. I mean, the Nashers gives me
Just
20.
in general, what's the cooldown on your ulti? Like how long does it take you to store another shroom?
I don't know. It takes a
Do you know
while.
that? Let me just
Wow,
check.
without the cooldowns, it takes a while. Can I see? Am I champion?
Um, League really needs to update the fact like you can like when you're looking at the skills, you can actually see the information, but you can't do it there. It just says like it does something for it does this, but it
Oh,
doesn't
it
say
doesn't
how
tell you
much
the cooldown?
damage. It doesn't yeah. It doesn't tell you like all the CC that it does, the type of damage.
Oh
It's
yeah, that's pretty bad.
yeah, it needs to be updated, but
Yeah,
I'm on League with you. I'm on with you.
it's not fast enough. It's not fast enough. Um, uh, yeah,
So it's not fast enough. And it's either not fast enough because you're doing it wrong, or because the build's not fast enough. So let's just figure this out. So you can store up to 3 traps at once,
yeah,
right? And its recharge time is 35 seconds, right? 31 seconds, 27 seconds. Okay?
right.
And you can store up to 3. So what you can do, right, is you can place 2 traps out, right, to protect yourself, right? Then use 1 trap on the wave, okay? And then your next trap would go out to protect you, and then your next trap would be on the wave. And that would be your pattern. Rinse and repeat. Because each wave, like to the spot that you're killing them, right, will take 30 seconds for the next wave to get there. And in that 30 seconds, you will already have a shroom ready.
Okay,
You get what I mean?
yeah.
So you're trying to hold them to use them for it, but they'll replace themselves. The more you use them, the more shrooms you get. That's how Teamer works.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, like I never am holding an inventory, man. Sometimes I hold one just for if I get jumped on,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
never
but
have three. I never have three.
yeah. So you should be like in this build, if you need to wave clear, if that's like how you need to land and things like that, save 1 shroom for a wave. That's all you need. It'll blow up the entire wave. Like if you shroom the caster line with a Luden's Echo only, it should kill them completely. Right? And you should just auto attack the melees once. It actually will clear it faster than a hurricane, believe it or not.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
maybe we can practice that because I'm not skilled at that. So I started going away from the Luden's Echo start, and
Hmm.
I started going Nashers first,
Okay.
which still gave me some punch. I go the AP route first. I get the Codex first.
Hmm.
Gave me a little more punch, and gives me the cooldowns on the shrooms. So then I have shrooms coming out faster. Um,
That's smart. Yeah.
when I went Luden's Echo, I went with the other boots. The what are they called? The
Sword boots.
sorcerer shoes.
Hmm.
when I went Nashor's Hurricane. This is still my initial build. I just switched the order.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went Mobility Boot so I can get around to other lanes faster.
Mm-hmm.
They end up being swapped out anyway at the end for Void Staff. So playing with it, that was the biggest issue. I found that I had more power in lane and more punch against my enemy, and I could potentially get first blood, but I was slower. I couldn't get around as much because I didn't have Moby Boots. I had the other ones. So if I had to get the mid lane and then get back, it was slower, and I couldn't wave clear. So maybe if my shrooms were better on the wave clear, then.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, so basically, okay, so when you're trying to make these ideas and builds and stuff like that, you have to be careful with what ideas you group together. Like being a split pusher and helping the team, right? You don't want to build to do both of those, you know? Like because like building to do both of those means that you're taking away from your quality to do either of them, so you're just going to be really poor at them, at both of them. So you building your movement speed and your mobility, right, so that you can get to other lanes to help your team is not a good reason. Now, if you were building mobility boots to get to other lanes to split push because that's why you needed it, then that would be okay. But that being said, movement speed wise, with Lichbane boots, like regular boots and looted Zeko, right, you should be way fast enough to get to anywhere you want to. Because the way you got to think about it is like, it's not about the time it takes you to get there, right? It's about time it takes your opponent to get there, right? And you'll be 25 to 28% faster than them, which means like you could be further than them by that much, right? And still get there at the same time.
Yeah, and when I had Luden Zeko first, I built the Sorcerer's Shoes next. So I was doing that. Just when I went Dashers or Runines and I go Moby Boots.
I'm glad you're not starting Hurricane anymore. It shows that you're like hungry for a little bit more damage in lane.
Well, I'm not 100% sold on it. Just it was something you said in last week's call, so I said, hey, well, let's test it out and see what happens.
So, do you have a replay?
I do. I haven't been winning, so those are probably good to watch anyway.
What we can do now is we can establish a game plan.
Yeah.
Right, and this is just a drill that I do to get people used to the pacing of League of Legends. Now, League of Legends, or any sport for that matter that has a time or has a clock, has a certain pacing to it, has a certain flow to it. So during this replay analysis, I'll be getting you to follow a pacing.
I've also been trying to be, I've experimented with going more aggressive, and sometimes that gets me killed by the jungler. But just playing a little differently. There was a game I had against Nasus where it's just constantly pushed him under tower. I was out CSing him like crazy, but then I got killed by the jungler.
Okay, so do you have you can send me a link to the replay if you like.
Oh, if you okay, are you not on op.gg?
Oh, that's okay. So
that's where I always do it.
Okay, yeah. There are some errors on the website. Apparently.
Oh, those are the only ones that I have.
No,
my last game was a triple kill victory. That's pretty good.
There we go.
Oh, that was the Nasus one. So I died early. I was 0-2 in lane, and then I came back.
Okay, so which game do you want to...
Oh, wow, the whole thing just crashed on me.
Yeah, it's...
Doesn't matter. The last game was against Nasus. That was the one that I remember the most, but some of them were...
I remember before you were losing to Nasus, though.
Yeah, I was dominating this one. I didn't kill him, but anyway, Udyr came and killed me, so I should have warded. That's probably a good one to watch because you could tell me where I should have warded at what time and how to not play as aggressively. And then if we can work on placing the shrooms to kill the wave, then I could try for that. Are you able to load that one?
Yeah, it took me a while, but I got it.
Okay.
I just need to do the whole screen share thing. Wait, what?
There we go.
Okay. What I want you to do is open a notepad up,
Okay.
all right, or an Excel document or anything.
Yeah, Notepad's fine.
Okay, and we're basically just gonna be like taking notes on
Okay.
like the phases of the game and how you should be playing them. And I'll just be putting like timestamps kind of thing, you know.
Okay.
So this is for when you're facing a melee top laner,
Yeah.
right? So obviously these styles differ, but you're facing a melee top laner without a gap closer.
Yeah, I mean, of all of them, Nasus is probably the easiest one. Nasus
Yeah.
or Hooter, I guess.
Um, they all have their difficulties, and like they all have like Udyr, if he flashes onto you, you have very little options.
Okay.
So like you have to basically like for Udyr, you have to watch out for not only his running at you, but his ability to flash on top of you.
Okay.
Okay, so this word, I think we've gone over this before, but it's inefficient. So
Okay.
basically if you were to take this word and you were to place it here,
Yeah.
it would see the exact same information, right? Except if they just walk down here, right, it would solve that as well, and if they just walked up here, it would solve that as well. Whereas here, it only solves if they're coming to the blue buff. You understand?
Okay.
You
Yeah. Okay.
place it right here and here, because they will do the job that this word does and more.
So ward the pixel bush.
Or word up here,
Oh, which one?
just right here, just literally out here,
Oh,
out
okay.
right in the like. There's a mouth. It's just the entrances. In order for them to get inside, they have to take one of these entrances.
Right.
So if you ward one of these entrances, like if you ward here in this bush here or in this bush here,
Yeah.
right, and then you stand here invisible, right, you just lit up their only opportunity to invade this side. Make
Okay.
sense?
So ward the pixel bush and then stand in the other entrance.
Yeah.
And what time am I warding the pixel bush?
55 seconds, 1 minute, 1 second. You could stand here, go invisible until like a minute and 10,
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
110, okay.
right, like 110, and then just walk, place a ward, and go invisible here after.
I don't have a ward though. I just placed it.
No, walk out, place
Yeah.
a ward at a minute and 10,
Oh, okay. And then go to the
right,
other side.
and then go to the other side. Okay.
And what if it's on the other side? What if I'm red side?
So if you're red side, right, and you want to protect top side, so you're protecting red,
Yeah.
you could just like
Ward pixel bush and go
you
to
could
the other.
ward here at like 55-ish, right? You could ward to the pixel bush. You could ward right off the ramp here, right?
Okay.
Either's fine as long as like this area is protected. Like getting wards in the bush, yes, it does illuminate the bush, but like this pixel bush here, they can't actually do much in that bush,
Right.
and they're not like as long as you're not aggressing into their jungle, them trying to set a trap in that bush isn't going to do anything. So actually, like getting the ward into the bush is not super important,
Okay.
right? It's just the reason people go for that is getting it the further, like as far out as possible,
Yeah.
right? Is most more beneficial. But if it's too dangerous because you were late backing out or whatever, placing it on the wrap is perfectly fine. You can just place it here at 55 and then walk up here in stealth.
Yeah.
With Teemo, what I like to do, right, is I like to go into here in stealth when I'm right side.
Okay.
right? Because going here and stealthing, sometimes when people leash their blue or Gromp or whatever, they decide to walk up this way,
Okay.
right? Oh, like walk up river, right? And you can just attack them for free. Because you're ranged, like you just auto attack them and kite them and just run away and you get damage on them for free.
Okay.
Okay? So
So I thought, okay, this game I'm gonna go balls out, crazy aggressive, push him to tower as soon as I could.
the first thing you want to do, as soon as you get to the lane, you have to think like a chessboard has just been set up. It's your turn,
Yeah.
right? And it's your turn to like lay out the to set the tone for the lane.
Yeah.
You attacking this minion
Yeah.
gave him an advantage,
Okay.
right? Do you understand why?
No.
Okay, so now your HP on your minions are higher than his,
Right.
which means you're pushing to his tower,
Yeah.
right? He cannot farm against a ranged person without a gap closer because he takes too much damage.
Right.
But you pushing it to the tower means that you're attracting jungle attention,
Right.
and he has his tower to defend it. So he can actually start farming.
Oh, I thought it'd be more difficult for him to farm under tower than out.
Okay, so under tower, all he has to do is know the rhythm,
Yeah.
right? And then he can farm perfectly, right? But out here, you're the tower, right? You're random. You're the one punishing him, right? Every time he's CSing, you're getting punished by that. Where he's only getting punished by like the damage just getting hit, that's hitting the minions. He has no
Okay.
answer to you. He has some answer to the turret if he can pace it. So don't push the lane. So write this in your notes.
Okay, that's cool. I never push the lane usually. This is my aggressive style. Okay, don't
No,
push the lane is easy.
No, but this is specifically against melee
Yeah.
top laners without a gap closer.
Okay.
Okay. You don't want to push it, and you just want to sort of dance. Okay, so watch. Right. So now here, you see your opponent coming into lane. Okay.
Yeah.
What you want to do, and this is only against a melee person without a gap closer. Oh, whoops! I should get rid of that. Is you want to get on the same side as he does. So remember when we talked about the three areas of the lane, the top area, the middle area, and the bottom area?
Yeah.
Now top is like one of the fatter lanes, but it's still the same. You could make it into four, like the bushes, then this area, the middle, and then here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you want to be on the same plane as him. So if he's going up here, right, you're going to be right here. And then if he tries to go over here, right, instead of walking forward to go like in his face,
Yeah.
just walk on a straight line, but on where he's trying to go. And then whenever he tries to step up, you step up and you auto him, step back.
Okay.
That's it. Right? If you can follow this pattern against a melee, against a melee person without a gap closer, they will not be ever to lane against you, ever.
Then I'm just doing last hitting on the minions.
Right? And you're just doing last hitting on the minions. Now, if you see him, like if he for some reason decides to walk up and hit a creep, okay? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear you. When you, if they decide to go up and last hit a creep,
Punch.
you hit the creep once. You match it.
Oh. Why?
right? Because you want to keep the minions at the same value, right? So like because they hit it, they do 80 damage. You hit it, you do 80 damage for the sake of argument, right? That means that the minions will be pushing at the same value, and the next wave that comes into lane, right? They'll meet up in the middle.
But if he's leaning, if he's pushing the wave and taking my damage on it, why do I care if he's pushing wave? Like, isn't that good for me?
It is, yes, but not early game,
Okay.
right? Because in terms of yourself, yes, it is better. But if you get pushed on early game, right, you're pretty much guaranteeing your mid to get ganked. Because what will end up happening is their jungler will finish their buff, right? And they'll be thinking, okay, so do I have an opening to gank top? No, top is pushing, right? So you made the decision for her at that point, right? So then she has to go mid.
Okay.
Now, if we're just talking about your lane here, we're just talking about this area, right? What you can do is you can just let him push it into you, right, up until this point, and then do a freeze there.
Okay.
So basically, if he walks up and he hits a creep, you hit a creep back, and then the next wave it'll come up and it'll meet here with the other wave. Okay? You can do that, but that's better for mid game. Early game, you want to try to keep it in the middle, so it makes it difficult for their jungler to make decisions. That way your mid laners don't feed, and that way you don't have to deal with a strong mid lane. Every like decision you make in lane, will, like including like your position, affects this like this part of the map and this part of the map.
Right.
In some sort of way, like it trickles down. So you have to be in good control of that. So here, in lane, just be positioned across from him, and just if he crosses over, you cross over. Like the path that he'll have to take to cross over is he'll have to go back to the spot he wants to, and then step up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your path is just gonna be you're gonna read where their spot is gonna be, right? So they start here, and you're gonna read their end spot, right? And you're just gonna move straight down to cut that off.
Okay.
Right, and that way you're doing less movement, you're having a lot of pressure, right, in lane, and you can just focus on last hitting, right, and moving to pressure your opponent. You don't really have to like focus on fighting. You can just punish him whenever he wants to fight. But you can just CS and just walk this way, and I'd be fine with that.
Okay.
Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Now you have, like, I'm looking at your habits. When you're last hitting now, you're stepping forward instead of backwards.
He's playing super back too, right? Like he's not
Yeah.
even anywhere close.
That was bad. That was neutral position. That was a 2 auto. So remember, you want to think when you're punishing somebody,
Yeah.
right? Just based on the range. Okay, if they're max range, it's a 1 auto punish. But if they're anything shorter than the range, you can get 2 autos in there.
Okay.
Right? So when you're punishing, you need to be like looking at the range. You need to be like, is this a 1 auto or a 2 auto?
Okay.
Right? And then make those decisions better, because 2 autos is obviously like twice as effective.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a lot better. 3 autos, you're spending a little bit too much time, but 2 autos is just really effective.
Okay.
Okay, good. Got it.
So I'm really pushing wave, right? I mean, super aggressive.
Yeah. So, but let's see if you're doing the right thing. So you should be hitting him here. So walk away. Okay, good. Make sure you don't take tower from.
I know. I took 1 or 2 tower shots, but I'm trying to get them.
This is really good. This is really good.
massive pressure or make it hard for him to see us under
In
tower.
this strategy that you're using,
Yeah.
right, you're executing it really, really well,
All right.
right? Right, it's like golden, right? Just do this mid game. Like when you get your first item kind of thing,
Okay.
just start playing like this. Right? Against everyone that you possibly can.
So I'm actually usually the opposite. Mid game, I start being more safe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Because mid game, what you want to do is you just want to push your lane out.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to be doing what you're doing, you want to push your lane out, then you just want to walk up in here, right, and get like a shroom right here, or get a shroom right here.
Yeah.
Right? And you just want to like, and then you want to walk back, you want to blow it up, and you want to do that. As a jungler, especially as an Udyr jungler, a person who only runs in, like he has no tricks, like he can't like jump over to this wall, or he can't like sneak into the bushes up here, right? He has to walk. He's assuming that top lane is shroomed up. It's level 2 right now, and I guarantee that he doesn't want to gank top because it's a Teemo. Right? That's just... Everybody has that like mentality in their head, and when you're playing Teemo, you need to abuse that.
Right.
That's like Teemo's superpower.
Right.
Nobody wants to gank a Teemo. Right?
So tell me...
instead of...
Yeah. No, you tell me where and when I should put my ward down, because I get killed by Udyr jungle.
Well, here, because you see him down, this is an adaptation. This isn't a time, okay? But because you see him down here, what you want to be doing is while you're managing your lane, right, just paying attention to when he leaves the lane. And as soon as you see him leave the map, like leave your mini-map, you want to add 8 seconds, because that's how long it takes to get to his base, right? And then the time it takes for him to get to your lane, right? So this is about 36 seconds for him to get up here, the fastest way. Okay, so that's a total of 40-ish seconds, right? So you want to get your ward out before that time. Make sense?
Okay, and where do I want to ward?
Where do you want to ward? Right here. So if you're facing a regular jungler, right, who has a gap closer or anything like that, you'd want to place it in try.
Okay.
Okay, but because you're pushing. If you're pushing like this, you'd want to place it in try. But because you're facing an Udyr, he doesn't have the opportunity to gank you from try when you're pushing, because he'll run at you and you'll just walk away. Right? So he has to come from behind you. So if you push up and you ward from behind you, you're perfectly fine. Okay?
Okay.
So here. Now this is called a bounce back mechanic. Okay, so you played the first part of this style correctly. Now I'm going to teach you the second part. So when all the minions die under the turret, their minion wave will clash with the fresh minion wave of yours, right?
Yeah.
But if you get enough harass on them, so if you get like a quarter or if you get half like you did, instead of pushing it under tower now, right, you can freeze it. Right? And if you freeze it, right, it makes, because of how much HP you have and because of how much free harass you do, it makes it impossible for him to CS. Because every single time he goes for CS, right, you can actually take a negative trade and it'll still benefit you.
Yeah.
You know, like you can walk straight up to him, he can auto Q you, EU, like use everything, and you'll lose more HP in the trade in terms of value, right? But he'll be at a quarter HP.
I also have flask and pot stuff.
Yep.
So.
Exactly. Right? So you're in a position where you should be dominating this wave. So a professional player, right, a person at the highest level, if they were in the situation and they had this bounce back happening at about the 6 to 8 minute mark, if they were able to keep this up, especially because top was getting ganked here, Teemo would have, so we'll say 6 minutes, Teemo would have maybe 50 farm, right, and Nasus would have maybe 15, 18, right, like the amount of denial that you can get off of this is immense. Now, what you have to remember is that even though the tower works against him in terms of farming, it protects him in terms of actually trying to get the creep. Right? So if you can take away his protection while still like putting him in a dangerous place, do it. So that's a 2 auto. Okay, so where should he be here?
Top, higher up.
Especially because of the bush mechanic.
Yeah.
Are you getting in his face? I like it.
Yeah, but I die for it. But that was the point of this test.
What you're doing right now,
Yeah.
right, is you're playing at a really, really high pace, and it's putting you on edge, right? And I can see it. You need to pace the CS, right? Like you need to play the lane faster than how the CS are dying. But when you're going to CS a creep, take your time with it, because you're missing CS because you're getting a little bit too antsy.
Yeah.
Remember that all you need to do for a CS, you need to click on them and you look at the HP. When their HP gets lower than your AD, then attack. That's your validation. Right? Now, a lot of people, they say, I'm just going to look at it when it gets low, I'll last hit it. How many times has that failed you? You know, like how many times do people look at creeps and it's like they misjudge it? Right? It's just a lot better for you to click it, have the HP in the top left, and last hit it. If you can't focus on that, right, if you can't do that and you really, really do need to feel it, stop aiming for the maximum HP that you could last hit it for, right, and start letting it get even lower than that and start hitting it for those values.
Yeah.
So a lot of people just try to hit it for the maximum and they end up like, it ends up living with like 1 HP and consistently happening. So, because if you're playing this way, right, like, I know you're winning in CS, but you should be at like 20 right now.
Right.
Right? So if you were at 20 and they were at 7,
Yeah.
that would be a much larger difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Just getting used to the flask too, because it's less damage than the blade.
Okay, so
What happened?
I'm just gonna. Okay, so when you're, especially against Nasus, right?
Yeah.
Against anybody, the tank minion, right, is basically the thing in a lane that your opposing laner is willing to sacrifice the most for.
Right.
Right? So if they're not going to sacrifice anything for a tank minion, psychologically you could deduce that they're just a safe player in general. Right? But if they're willing to like walk up and weave and try to get that tank minion, right? It means that they are they're scrappy. They like to fight. They like to look for opportunities. Right? If they just charge in for it, they just don't know what they're doing, but they know that the tank minion is important.
Right.
Right? But in all three of these scenarios, right, and these are the only scenarios that there will be, right? The tank minion is a forced objective. Like it's something that they value.
Yeah.
Right? So instead, like, you should be pressuring it. Like here, you should be like already standing here and standing guard.
Okay.
And just like make him be like, okay, do I have to answer to this guy or not? So when he's walking up, right? Also, we'll show you in game actually. So when he's walking up here, right? That was an auto.
Yeah. Instead of the minion.
Right? Now, what ended up happening for this minion is you auto attacked it first, right? And then you step back, and then it was a last hittable, so you last hit it. But if you didn't auto attack, it would be high enough for you not to have to last hit it here.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why just blindly auto attacking in a lane can work against you.
Sure.
Right? Everything should be paced. So yeah, you're walking up and you're gonna last hit this creep. or he's going to last this creep. So he would have taken an auto, right? So in the next frame, right, he cuts down, right, because he cuts down for whatever reason. So in that instance, right, you can make a cut down and auto him. So that's 2 auto attacks. Right, I guess he cut down because it wasn't low enough for him to last hit.
Right.
Right, so it gets there. So down there, it's 3 auto attacks already. So during the open up stage, you would have got 3 auto attacks.
Okay.
Okay, so at this decision, he's like, do I go all the way for it? Do I fully commit? Right, or do I concede it? Right, so let's say he still plays it the way he plays it. So he decides to go in for it. Right, so that would have been 2 auto attacks. So we're at 5 here. Right, and that would have been a blind. Right, so you could have messed him up on the last hit.
Yeah.
Right, like it only does the Q power. It doesn't do the actual auto attack damage if you blind him here. Right, and then another auto and. Okay, so we'll just end it there. It could have been like an additional auto, but that's about 8 auto attacks. Right? So 8 auto attacks worth of damage would have got him to about 100 HP. Right? And all that can stem from you just positioning correctly.
Yeah.
And abusing the 3 stages of when you can hit them. The open up, when they're doing their action, and when they're running away.
Okay.
When you're facing a melee opponent with no gap closer, you control the entire lane, and you have to understand that when they're taking an action, you control it entirely. So control the open up, control the action that they're doing, and control the fact that they walk away. Right? Even if you're just controlling 2 out of 3 of these things, you're managing the lane. Okay?
Yep.
Let me know when.
Yeah, you can keep going.
Good to go? Okay.
Yeah.
So here, I know you like because you have a lot of minions stacked up, right? And because like you're in a dominant lane, right? What you need to do is you need to be standing up in this side of the lane here.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, now this is where a lot of people agree and disagree in terms of theory, right? So you can come to your own idea, but I'm just explaining the ideas around it, and you can come to your own decision. But basically, when you don't have a, what? Is that really how it happened?
What?
No, it copy pasted the bottom bar. That was weird. Okay, so when you're facing somebody and you don't have a gap closer, right? You want to be as high in the lane as possible, right? So that when they're coming into lane, there's a lot of more distance between you. Okay? But when you're controlling the lane entirely, like when this person can't do anything to you, and you have the ability to fight, like to one-on-one their jungler, you should stand in this region. Okay? Because if you're standing in this region, you're zoning them out of the lane, and if the jungler comes, you just 1v1 them, right? And you kite them up this way. Right? There's 2 different ways for the lane. Now with Teemo, he doesn't have a lot of good dueling potential. So
Right.
in regards to him, right, you want to be in this region. Okay, now we're looking at the times here. Okay, so it's 3:47, right, and he started bot side area. Okay, so at this time, right, and you know he ganked bot, at this time you know that he should be heading top. Right, like in terms of gameplay, in terms of like where he started, what he ganked the bot with, in terms of buffs, right? He should be going to do his red buff and being topside. Okay? So you should be giving it like that 8 seconds that I told you, and then getting a ward out now. Okay?
Okay.
So get your damage in here. Oh yeah, you took your tower shot.
Yeah, there was a tower shot.
Just
The poison. The poison.
yeah, but instead of looking at him, okay, so I'm gonna give you like a basketball analogy, okay? In basketball, when you're defending an opponent and they're holding the ball, right? Instead of looking at him to catch their like intent, their positioning and stuff like that, all you have to do is follow the ball, right? Or follow like because that is what's going to direct you to what they're going to do, right? Because that ball can only do so many things. Now they can do a lot more things, but the ball can only do very little things. So all you have to do is watch the ball. So here in League, all you have to do is watch the creeps, right? Because you know that's what he's going to do. That's what he's going to look for. And whenever the creeps get low, you can walk up and stand there in position, right? Before they even get ready to. Like, you're in position to punish it, right? And then you just step back. And then, like, this one's getting a little targeted over here, right? You just walk there and you just stand there. And this one's getting targeted here, you just walk there and you stand there.
Okay. But I should have put out the ward by now, too, or no?
Yes. Well, you should have warded. You technically should have warded before the minions crash on the tower. Like you know the time when the minions are like shuffling up to the tower, their minions are coming here,
Okay.
right? But nothing's actually happening. Like the tower's not targeting anything yet. You want to be taking that time to ward because you can't apply pressure in the lane and you can't do anything. You just need to get pressure relief for your lane.
Okay.
Okay, so here, so that's an auto. So you see like over here, you're missing like you're up to like about like 32, 33 auto attacks that you could have had. And when you become a high level Teemo player, you'll start noticing from when you're watching your games in the first 6 minutes, the amount of auto attacks you do in lane versus the types of lanes you face are the same amount of number. Like, you're going to play 10 games against the Nasus, and your attacks are going to be something like 107 or 105, and you're going to get like anything within that window every single time before 6 minutes because of how you're playing, because of your consistency.
Okay.
Right? So right now you're dropping some auto attacks, so you basically just want to make it very simple for yourself and just create stimuli and create a reaction to it. So when they're going for a creep, that's harassment. That's your reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you have to decide, is it a 1 auto or a 2 auto? And that's it. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm missing a lot.
You can see your opportunities, right?
Oh yeah. This is honestly the most aggressive I've ever played, and
it's definitely like a much higher step up than what you're used to. But you can, like, as an athlete now, when you start getting better, you start seeing things you never saw before. You know, like you seeing openings and you start seeing things like you could be doing, whereas before you think like, no, it's way too dangerous. Right, and you kind of notice yourself, like, before in lane, you would be standing, like, in this situation, you'd be standing, like, back here.
Right.
That's where you would be standing, right? But because you're getting better, you're slowly just moving up, right? And when people get really good, they'll end up, like, being, like, up here, getting too far and getting punished for it. Okay, so here you would have had your ward down.
Yeah, here's where I died. But he came from Tribush. And then walk down.
So at this point, you would have known, right? So at this point, you would have known that he was there, and do you have one? So you would have moved quick. So you would be about here. You would have been safe. Yeah. Let's see if you could have been safe even knowing where the gank was. So here, I'm not saying it would have been like you would have been safe here, but technically in this frame you should have been flashed here,
Okay.
right? Because you don't want to wait for Udyr to stun you because you'll take damage, and you want to flash here because that's the greatest distance between those two, like the both of them.
Right. Okay.
Like when two people are fighting you and like you're considering flashing, don't just flash your like another place you can flash is like right here. Actually, I think that would be better. Actually, that would actually be safer. Yeah. So yeah, if you flashed here at that point, the best Udyr could do is like flash onto you or run onto you and auto you, but then you'd be safe enough to get there, and you would have the HP to survive it. Okay, but you see how you got stunned here
Yeah.
and then flashed? That's what killed you. Okay, so recording button.
I remember my thinking, and maybe he didn't have it at the time. I was thinking he hadn't used his smite yet on me. I thought he would smite me, and I would flash after the smite. But anyway.
Yeah, but the smite is not necessarily something you had to play there. Yet, like, the danger was his E.
Right. So that was my first death.
That's okay. Like that is honestly like that's a result of you doing a lot of things right and one thing wrong.
Okay.
Right? So like obviously like your laning phase you could be playing aggressively more, but the style you're playing is correct. Right? So I'm happy to see that. It's just like you just had to add a ward somewhere, and that's a simple fix. Right? So just before the so we'll say 352. Okay? 352, get your ward in your bush. Okay?
As a general rule, or that was an adaptation because you'd ganked bottom.
For now, just as a general rule. And if somebody ganks you before that, or as you're putting it down, change it.
Okay.
What you should be aiming to do now is try to get things like wards, like clearing wards and all that stuff down to like a consistency, like down to a time, right? So that you can just make your like gameplay decisions on the fly, whereas you don't have to worry about all these aspects of the game, right? Worrying about like strategizing it when you already have a predetermined pattern, you know?
Okay.
So we have to go to 4 minutes. Okay, so that's your death. We can speed it up until you live.
Run back the lane. So what did I buy? Oh, okay. I'm going towards Nash's.
Okay, so you're going towards Nash's. Okay, so in this specific scenario, right? When you're facing, if you're building Nashers first, that's the item you're building first, right? And you're facing a melee person without gap closer, you get the dagger first.
Oh, for the speed?
Yes, because this amplifies your toxic shock by increasing the amount your ticks do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't scale very well. Right? It's not like this 20 ability power give it like plus 5 damage each tick. Right? It's more like 1 damage every second tick. Alright, that it amplifies it. So if you were to get the attack speed, you would be getting more attacks in there, which would effectively increase the damage more. Right? Now I would agree for amplifying Tome if you were using your blinding guard mostly to harass the lane, like you were facing a Lysandra, right, or somebody that you really need to use your E to amplify it, then that would be okay. But for now, it's your auto attacks that are winning your lane, and your first item back you want to get wants to benefit your laning as well as your build pathing. Okay?
Okay.
So versus melee person with no gap closer. What are you doing?
Dagger.
Got it. So look at that HP.
Oh, I know. It's not last hitting. I know.
Yeah. So this auto attack could be on him.
Okay.
That's how you got to think about it. Like, the way you have to think about this is your auto attacks need to be more valued, like when you're doing them, because every single time you auto attack, you're not moving.
Okay.
Right? So when you auto attack, it's a moment of vulnerability. It's just a split second, right, where you actually just can't do anything because your auto attack's going out. Right? Now, you can't do anything because it's over here, but so what is that auto attack getting you? Right? It's not getting you the creep, it's getting you closer to the creep, which means that you'll have to do another auto attack. Which means you'll have to be vulnerable again. Which means this Nasus can walk up. You get what I mean?
Yep.
So you want to be like when you're in your neutral game, when you're doing your movements back and forth and stuff like that, and then you're getting ready to auto attack, right? You want to get in position so that the auto attack is safe, right? And then you have good options out of it. You know that the next option out of it isn't just a forced option that you have to do because you made a mistake. You know?
Okay.
So auto attacks are very underrated by players. You need to take them more, like you need to use them more effectively. Like you need to use them like they're skills. Like you know how people like they have an ulti and they won't use it in a situation because they don't want to waste it. I'm not saying to that degree, but it should be a little bit closer to that. You want to be a little bit more efficient with them. Okay, so nice. That was dangerous. I hope you get it, but okay. So instead of just wailing it here, right? Just practice your last hitting.
Yeah, again, I'm thinking like I want to push lane. I want to push lane the tower. I want to push him out. So I'm attacking everything. I'm getting most of them, but tower.
You're ignoring it. Like your auto attack hit before the tower.
Yeah. I didn't think the tower would get it. I didn't see that, but I missed that one.
So you have to pay attention to these.
Yeah.
So you have no opponent to face here, right? Like you're not actually facing anybody.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to push hard. That's it.
No, I get that. But in terms of focus, you can actually like gear your focus to your minions' auto attacks and start waiting for them to hit the creep and then last hitting. But you're just totally ignoring them. So
yeah, I know.
Yeah. You can actually like do that here. Now you have to back to base here.
I just got here.
But you like at this point you actually have to because of how the backings where you would lose all advantage you could possibly have if you didn't back here.
Why?
Because of the Kindle Gem that he has. Because he has Kindle Gem Flask, right? So his buy got him 400 gold, or 400 gold more than yours did. Whereas if you look at your buy, right, you have 600 gold in bank, right? And you, so you could buy a dagger, right? You could buy something, right? So and you could buy wards and you could buy a potion, right? But because he back to base and because he teleported and you back to base and you buy an item now, when your teleport comes up, you will have an advantage, right? But if you don't back here, laning gets a lot harder. So that was a one auto. So this is a theory behind it, okay? Just to give you an idea. He has 1,108 HP. Okay? You have 766. Okay? Both of you have flax. Can you hear me? Did my headset shut off?
Oh, I can hear you. I got you.
Okay. Um, because you have flasks, they even out, so they both give you 120 HP, right? On healing, but they both even each other out. So for the difference of your HP, right, is the amount of HP that he can give up to take a CS. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now he can give up a lot this time.
Yes. So, but that being said, he also has 3 potions. Okay? So now he can give up an additional 450. Okay? Make sense so far?
Yep.
Okay, so he can give up an additional 450 to CS. Now, in addition to that, he has his passive, right? And his passive is every single time he hits, creeps, right? He gets lifesteal, right? And if we click on him and we look at his stats, it's about 10%. Yeah, it's 10% lifesteal. So he can actually use the fact that he's healing from a potion or healing from this to walk up to a creep, right, and auto attack it and mitigate and use both the healing and his auto attacks to mitigate your damage entirely. Make sense?
So what's my counter?
Your counter is to get more auto attacks in,
Okay.
right? Like you kind of just have to fight through it. But
Okay.
if you do not take your time to scale properly, right, you will make it a lot more difficult for yourself. Like right now, what you should be doing is just auto attacking him a lot, like just auto. So that was about like potentially 4 auto attacks. If you walked into the bush early enough, it was 3,
Okay.
right? So that would have been a 4th, and then you would be back there. Probably would have popped the potion. Right now you're 6. Okay, so where do you want to place your shrooms? You know that, like, in order to walk into the bush here, right, they have to go from here, here, or here. Placing it in the bush,
Mm-hmm.
right, because there's a lot of coverage here, right, it doesn't cover as much of their movement. So if you were to place it in this corner, they can move in all of this region, right?
Uh-huh.
If you place it in the middle, right, people will just walk up here, here, and over here,
Yeah.
right? So that's like the Timo debate. Do you place them on the corners, or do you place it in the middle, right, for this bush? What you do instead, right, is you place it right here, right, and right here.
But I only had one.
Right? I'm saying like so the first one you should place is right here.
Oh,
Right?
but then
And then
I
next time you come down, if this is still up, right, you'll place it right here. And then right
Okay.
here.
Well, this one was more for vision than anything else.
It would still give you the same.
If he comes from the top part, then
It won't see him. It won't see him. Like it sees them until here.
Right. Okay.
Right. So if you were to come here, even the stream that you placed would still not see him.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So, yeah. So you would place it here, and then you would walk, and he would definitely hit it.
Yeah.
Unless he was like a thinner character and he just hugged the wall.
Right.
But it would still give you the vision of him. Right? So it would still do his job and he might hit it on the way back. Right? Now when people walk through this bush and don't get hit by a shroom and get to like this thing, they're thinking, oh hey, like I'm not gonna get hit by a shroom, that's cool, and then they'll get hit by a shroom.
Right.
So it's actually better for you to place it outside of the bush than inside of the bush in
Okay.
this scenario. Another place to put it is in this choke right here,
Yeah.
right? If you can get there, right? Because if they have it warded early here and you see their top laner disappear here,
Right.
you
They're
actually
coming for me.
you can't get your vision, right? You have to walk away. You have to assume that their jungler is in the area. It's like Schrodinger's jungler. Like, you have to assume that they're there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, it makes sense about your shroom placement.
Yeah.
So in terms of your shroom placement for the river, right, what you want to do is you want to have one right outside of, so there would be the bush, and you want to have one right outside of it at the tip.
Where? Sorry, I can't see your screen.
Here, I'll get a better thing for you.
Okay.
Wait, you can't see my screen?
No, I got it now. I see your mouse.
Okay, so a better one for you. Okay, so you want one here, right? So it's just outside of it, right? And then you want one up here, right? And then you want one over here,
Okay.
right? And then you could, for like extra zazz, get one over here,
Pizzazz. Okay.
but the one that you have over here will cover that. But those are all your necessary ones. Anything else, right, is just getting a little bit overkill. And when you're placing them, it's good to have an overkill top lane, don't get me wrong, right? But at this point, like, if you have this setup, your shrooms should be more focused towards clearing your lane. Do you know? Like getting lane control.
Right. Okay. So, in terms of those shrooms, what would you put the order of priority on?
So this is priority 1. This is 2. This is 3 for river. Right. For this area, this is priority 1. And the other ones are just like whatever you can get in whatever order. It doesn't matter. Those ganks aren't really gonna affect you, right?
Should I
Because
put the river first? River first, or the other one first?
depends on the jungler that they have. If they have a jungler with like Lee Sin, right, you want to do it in this area, right? And like you basically like if it's Lee Sin specifically, or like Rammus or somebody who's like really fast at ganking you, you want to bring these down.
Okay.
And you just want to completely wall it off. Like you see, like from this wall to this wall,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just shroom right there, right? Just do a shroom gate, right? Now, the reason you angle it up like this is because you make it a lot scarier for them when they're walking up. But just lining up a wall there is effective too. But if they walk in between, they've automatically defeated you. Whereas, like, they can't just walk one path to gank you. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right? They can't just walk straight up because you stagger them. So yeah. Now in lane shrooming. Okay, because there should be a shroom pattern for your lane. Should give you a lot more control. So the minions, they'll come in on this line,
Mm-hmm.
like a line like this. So you should, and you know how they stack up. So you should be placing a shroom line like this,
Okay.
right? And a shroom line like this.
Okay.
Sorry, I right-clicked. So something like that, okay? And basically,
Yeah.
and you should also have like shrooms here, right, and up here, okay?
Yeah.
Just so you have control of that. And the reason is because the thing about Teemo shrooms, and like this is where Teemo's power is it alters terrain. So if you were to quite literally picture a grassy field, right, and there were landmines in it, you knew there were landmines in it, but you didn't know where they were, right? Or even if you did know where they were, if we didn't have any tools to disarm them, what would you do?
I don't know. You knew they were there. You try to avoid them.
right? You try to, but you only have so many places you can step, right?
Yeah.
Now, put an armed opponent in there who knows exactly where they are, who can't be affected by them, right? And is just coming out to kill you, right? What's your best course of action? To avoid them or to fight them?
Run to shrooms and then fight them.
Yeah. So like, it's basically like psychologically you place it up there, and your opponent will just give it up, and you can just freeze it.
Yeah.
Right, and if they try to do anything, or if they try to mount the play or do anything, they'll just take up shrooms, right? And then you'll just replace them right away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to see some consistency in your games, right? I want to see at least like the top line here, right? I want to see the shrooms in your river area to be in the same shape, right? And then you can basically like you could follow the same shape like up, like you can like you see how it's like staggered like this?
Yeah.
You could just do like X, 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 or you could just like invert it, like as long as you are just cutting off like the specific angles. That's fine. Like I think like this is a good formation, to be honest. So just going like this.
Okay.
That's a good formation. Like typically, how many shrooms do you have in top at a time? I just want to get your mind moving on this. Like to think about.
You could fast forward in that replay to 15 minutes or so and
But
see.
just typically, like, give me a number. It's like above 30, right? Above, like...
Depends on the time of game, right? Like.
No, like later into, like, maximum number, I mean. Like,
Oh, well, your max, I think, is 40.
But how much do you get in a game? I mean.
Like, the max that can stay alive on a thing is 40.
Yeah. How much
Something
do you
like
end up getting in your top lane?
I don't know. A lot.
Okay, so you probably, like, approach it. And how many of those actually go off?
Not a lot.
So what you have to think of is, like, the only shrooms that were worth placing are the ones that went off or the ones that zoned your opponent away from doing something. All the other shrooms there were a waste of mana, right, and were a waste of casting the ability, right? But that being said, instead of placing as much, like you can find the ones that never go up, like never blow up in your replays,
Yeah.
like analyze yourself and take them out of your play and replace them with either another place, like either in your lane or in that area, and start making these shrooms more efficient, right? And if you actually go down to the details and figure out which ones are more efficient, you'll have to place less top, but because of their placements, they'll be a lot stronger. And then you have more shrooms to use in your lane. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so you have any questions about that?
Time to get to work.
Yeah, you have you're definitely like you're getting up there. You're playing a lot stronger, playing a lot more aggressive. You showed that Nasus who was boss in that lane.
Well, and then he killed me next in lane 2, so.
Well, he also like he got a gank, right?
The second time, no gank. He just killed me one-on-one. The first
Okay.
time he got a gank, and then that was it. I think that's all I died. Then I went 5-2 or something. Like I came back, right? My usual mid-late game strength is there.
Yeah, and another thing about you that you don't know is if you don't smash Nasus' early game. If you don't smash Nasus' early game, he will outscale you because of how he.
Yeah, sure. He'll outscale everybody.
Yeah, he'll farm. So like you actually have to like go out of your way to smash them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so next week what we're going to be talking about is like we're going to be going over this again, but we're actually just going to go straight into your shroom placement. Right, give you a map towards it. Right, and this get like at what time and where they should be placed.
Yeah.
right? And we'll like chart it out, and then we'll figure it out from there. Okay?
Yeah, it'd be cool to have like a paint file or something that.
Yeah. I'll give you a spreadsheet for it.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay.
All right.
Let's stop the
Take care.
broadcast.